WNC, America's Black News Channel. Watch 15 minutes. Share with everyone. Finally, news that speaks to us.
We're still following actor Jussie Smollett's sentencing hearing as it happens live in Chicago. The statement from the Rainbow Push Coalition is being read out loud now.
Several moral issues as you weigh sentencing options. Jussie has no prior felony convictions. He has a history of community service and charitable giving of his time, talent, and treasury. He has sustained a significant loss of income prior to being convicted of any crime. Based on the very public nature of the charges and the trial, Jussie has lost countless career opportunities. I have served as a citizen devoted to having a positive impact on the lives of young men and women in the city of Chicago since 1968. In pursuit of that mission, I have visited the Cook County Jail and several Illinois prisons every year since Operation Breadbasket launched. I have seen firsthand the disastrous impact jail has on far too many young people of color, especially young African American men, who often see a complete loss of hope in their situations. Since this case involves the alleged actions of a very visible public figure, it presents a unique opportunity to send a message to millions of young black and brown men that the system cares for them. This highly publicized Class 4 felony case can be utilized as a positive teaching moment about how the criminal justice system can work to benefit all in our society. I appeal to you in the spirit of righteousness to consider the impact America's criminal justice system has on young black males who struggle every day to survive the streets of urban America. We have an obligation as a society to favor restorative justice rather than retributive justice. Jussie Smollett was convicted of a Class 4 felony, the least severe category of felony in Illinois. A well-established practice in Cook County is to sentence Class 4 disorderly conduct cases to incarceration alternatives. Such alternatives might include second chance probation, regular probation, or deferred prosecution. Additionally, an important consideration in sentencing is the potential for recidivism. Jussie Smollett's lack of felony criminal record, as well as many positive contributions to society, demonstrates that he poses no risk for recidivism. Jussie has a long track record of being deeply engaged and contributing citizen who is committed to helping the most vulnerable in our society, whether persons living with HIV/AIDS and children orphaned by the disease, or children whose health was damaged by the contaminated water in Flint, Michigan. Jussie's commitment to serving the community began as a child. As he found professional success, he continued to donate time and money to charitable causes. Another factor that we urge your honor to consider is that the crime did not involve violence to others. None of the actions charged indicate that Jussie ever posed a threat to public safety. Further, Jussie has already suffered. He has been vilified in the court of public opinion. His professional reputation has been severely damaged. He has suffered lost career opportunities, a loss of income, and there are a number of people who rely on Jussie for financial assistance. Finally, I am deeply concerned about the physical safety and well-being of a well-known, non-violent black gay man with a Jewish heritage who may be incarcerated within the U.S. prison system. For all the foregoing reasons, I believe the only fair and just outcome is to sentence Jussie Smollett to a non-incarceration alternative. We respectfully urge you to do so. Rainbow Push Coalition welcomes the opportunity to serve as a place for Jussie to resume his desire to serve the community. During the first year of COVID, we served more than 4,000 meals each day. We have a program that is designed to meet some of the issues homeless individuals face each and every day in the city while trying to survive. We believe that those who are impacted by the criminal justice system deserve an opportunity to be restored to a meaningful life and lives throughout community engagement and public service. We have worked diligently to transform the lives of young people in our Push Excel programs. I believe that Jussie has much to give to America, and this case is a stumbling block that should not become a setback to his future. We do not want Jussie to become another prison statistic, as he has way too much to offer. I stand ready, along with the board of directors and the several thousand members of the Rainbow Push Coalition, to support Jussie Smollett in his journey to wholeness. We want to assist this court in meting out justice for Jussie Smollett. Signed, the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson, Sr.
We'll take a short break and continue to follow the developments in Jussie Smollett's sentencing hearing.
And you're watching The World Tonight here on BNC, where we're following the breaking news developments out of Chicago, where an Illinois judge denied a motion to dismiss the conviction of actor Jussie Smollett for lying to Chicago police about a racist and homophobic attack he staged himself.
Smollett's sentencing hearings happening right now in Chicago. We've heard from several character witnesses, including Smollett's older brother, Black Lives Matter, the Rainbow Push Coalition. They're all asking for a non-incarceration sentence. Smollett is facing up to 3 years in prison for each of the 5 counts of felony disorderly conduct. He was acquitted on a 6th count. The jury found the Empire actor guilty back in December, and the city asked for restitution for the cost of the investigation into the attack to be part of the sentencing.
Joining us now is criminal defense attorney and private investigator Karen Nance, and Ernest Owens, award-winning journalist and CEO of Ernest Media Empire. Let's go to the core of what many of the people who have been stating in terms of defending Jussie Smollett. Karen, I'll begin with you from a legal perspective. They've talked about restorative justice, and they've talked about the impact that restorative justice can have in redeeming Jussie Smollett. Talk to us about that, please.
I've worked in the restorative justice area, specifically in prisons, and seen how it can be effective. And incarceration does not resolve any issues. It does not make someone a non-recidivist. In fact, that's the opposite of what happens. Many times people are without resources after serving time in custody and end up back in custody. So restorative justice is a means to help the community, the victim, if there is a specific victim, as well as the person that's caused the harm. It's a way to move forward, not only for the parties involved, but for the whole community as well. So I thought that that was a really good position to point out in this particular case, and I believe it's extremely appropriate for healing, not only for Jussie and for the entire community.
Criminal defense attorney Karen Nance, thank you for joining us tonight. Ernest, let's bring you into this conversation. We're looking at a charge of filing a false police report, which strikes me as something that is often dismissed by prosecutors, that police don't go to this much of an extent to hold somebody accountable. What does it do to somebody who is Black and gay, watching this play out right now on TV and seeing how much the prosecution went after this famous actor?
Well, I have to take a side, because I think that there's so much nuance here that needs to be explored. I think, I don't think that Jussie should be incarcerated. I'm not a proponent of mass incarceration by any means, especially when it involves people doing something that's nonviolent. However, I think that what needs to be understood here is that Jussie is a rich celebrity. He did do a crime, and in many ways, he was afforded resources and countless time and effort for the police department to do something that, quite frankly, just wasn't there. All of the resources that actually are needed for victims to actually see hate crimes get resolved that are actually real was spent, being used to do this. Chicago has lots of gun violence going on. Energy and resources to try to find those killers was taken up by people like Jussie, who made something up. So I really do think, to a certain degree, I don't think that any person who is experiencing a hate crime that would report it often even see justice in these types of ways, especially since the rise during the Trump era. However, because he was a celebrity, because of the fact that he, put this in front of everyone's face, he got so much resources and attention. I think they're trying to make an example out of him. And I think that unfortunately that's taking up more of the conversation than just this man just simply admitting it and moving on.
Making
We
an
want to thank you
example out
for
of him.
joining us this hour to talk about award-winning journalist and CEO of Ernest Media Empire. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back.